Hi, I'm here on the comfy couch today to talk to you about blogging. And honestly, this could apply to any kind of content that you're producing because I think we all have this concern about how long or how short we can go with a piece of content. And honestly, I have wanted for years to write a blog post that's titled, how long should you, or how many words should my blog post be, or how long should I make my blog post, or something along those lines. And then just, say as long as it takes, as many words as it takes to get the point across, which is basically what I'm doing here. But the thing is, I know that that's only helpful if you understand a few other things about creating content. So one of the things that I want you to understand, especially when it comes to blog posts, is that having fewer than 300 words on a page might impact whether the Google bots, find it, love it, and give you some juice. Ultimately, though, if you are only doing that occasionally, like this is the first time ever on my blog that I've done this in 7 years of writing blog posts on my blog. If this is only the first time that you've done it, that's okay. If it's occasional, it's all going to be fine. Don't worry about it. But if you are regularly doing these itty bitty short blog posts, I would maybe think about expanding on them or group them together. I'm a really, really big fan when I have clients I'm working with who are writing any kind of content for me, especially if it's for their blog. If I'm helping them edit that content, I will say, hey, there's a really good break here. You've got over 2,000 words and you don't produce a ton of content for your site. So why don't we break this apart, make it 2, and then we can actually, we can have a little bit more content for you. And sometimes that makes sense, but there are times where it just doesn't make sense. You can't separate critical pieces of an idea from the main points. And so it's something that you play with and think about based on what you want your audience to understand, what you want to accomplish with your general content production. And then, of course, factoring in some of the technical things like SEO. Now, there is this saying, you write for humans and then you edit for SEO. So this is not something that I'm going to explain in a lot of depth in this video today because I am not a I am not an SEO. I am not a search engine optimization expert. That is a highly technical skill, and it's kind of a full-time job to stay up to date on what SEO is, what's changing, what's good, bad, or otherwise in SEO. So I encourage you, if you need help in that, to find somebody who is an SEO expert. I will never claim to be, but when it comes to writing content, whether you're preparing a video or a blog post or a social post or an infographic, the first thing that you want to do is think about, what's my goal here? What is the goal that I want to accomplish with this for my audience? If you're trying to get them to understand a certain concept or see maybe how to use something that you can provide to them, those are all very legitimate things that you can do. So I encourage you to do that. But spend the time that you need to explain it to them. There's no reason to worry about whether or not you have enough words or not enough words when you are writing something that is meant to have value. The key question you need to answer is whether the value is there for them. Are you actually helping and making a difference? Maybe it's educating them on something. Maybe it is giving them a particular perspective that you see as important in your industry. There's all sorts of things that you can factor in. Another thing that I like to do is encourage you to switch it up. Don't always do the same thing. So that's one of the reasons why I am doing this right now, where you're watching a video and perhaps you're getting to it on my YouTube channel, which is brand new, by the way. So that's a new thing that I'm changing up. But you might also be getting to it from this particular blog post that I've put on my website. So I'm using a video that is hosted on a totally different platform to enhance the content that I have on my site, and also allow me to do this thing that I've wanted to do for years without it sounding snarky or dismissive or shorting the topic unnecessarily. There's a lot more I could go into when it comes to thinking about how long to make a post. I think the main thing, though, is to really think about how your audience is going to be helped the most with what you're producing. Are they going to need more information? Do they have the context they need to understand where you're coming from? I always like to encourage testing with the 5 W's and the H. So who, what, when, where, why, and how. So are enough of the questions that can be asked with these letters, are they answered by what you said? And if you can't go through all of those, answer this. Why should they care? What is the so what? Those are two different ways of asking the same thing, which is, why should they care? What does this piece of content do to enhance their life, to educate, whatever it is that you're trying to do? That is the most important thing when you are looking at your content. Not the length of the content, not the subject of the content, although it's important to know that your audience cares about the subject, but we're going to assume, for the sake of what we're discussing, that you know those answers. Bottom line is, when you are getting to creating content for your audience, the length really is irrelevant. You're going to get a million different answers to what is ideal when it comes to the length of a blog post, a video, a course, an infographic. Everybody has a different idea. Everybody has an opinion about what works. You will not know for your people whether it's going to work until you try it. And when it comes to creating content, always put enough in there that people understand what you're trying to say. And if it means that you need to take a little time and edit a few times, you don't have to keep to an editorial schedule that's super strict. That is no longer necessary. So that's my little piece of advice for today on Comfy Couch Convos. I hope you'll continue to come back and join me for more discussions exactly like this. And I'll jump into the comments and have some back and forth with you if you want. And welcome to my YouTube channel. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.